Dimitrous Chattman. After college, he was driving from the Bay Area to a CIF marketing interview in Sacramento, and his cell phone rings. Dimitrous, this is John Madden. Heart racing, he pulls over on the freeway. Hey, coach. That call ignited a decade raising millions with NFL legends Madden with the Raiders, Mariucci with the 49ers via a celebrity charity event. And today, Dr. Dimitrous Chattman builds legacy partnerships that leverage sports, education, and community ambassadorship. He consults on legacy partnership and leads California recruitment for Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Anyone else an alum with me? Hey, sick, let's go. Anyway, nothing else matters besides that right there. Leading recruitment for Cal Poly SLO, expanding pathways for high-achieving students, and serves on the board of Fortune School of Education. Welcome, Dee.
Give it up for Molly for making this happen. To hold space and bring together all these creatives, beautiful people on a Friday. Yeah. All right. All right. Legacy ecosystem. One of the big things, like doing this work, it's always amazing seeing how many ways people's industries overlap, people we know. Oh, I went to high school with them. Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's my brother-in-law. So I really love like tapping in with people when it comes to thinking about the immersive ways of building ecosystems. And let me stop for a second. Who's in the room here? Education, technology, finance, business owners. Yeah. Artists, creatives. Yeah, everybody raise their hand. You're all creatives. All right, did I miss anybody? Shout it out if I missed you. Nonprofit, yes, beautiful. I know what you're here for. The money lady, huh? No, that's my friend. That's my friend, Jill. Okay, welcome to the Battle of the Bay. Let's talk about the flow of what we're going to do here for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And you're going to give me a 5-minute warning, right? So I'll talk a little bit about experience and impact, then the call that she referenced, a little bit of co-creation with us together, and then the legacy ecosystem. I think a lot of us may not even know what that means, and I've been working on the definition that I've been chopping up, and then kind of breaking down. We might not have time to go through all of the aspects. This 20 minutes is a full-day workshop or even a 2-day workshop to talk about the different aspects of the ecosystem. And we'll get a little bit of scholarly language in there from some stuff from my dissertation. But looking at the land, talent, tournament, commerce, and then the cause. But I'll probably just pick one or two, but we'll see how time goes. The resume and all that stuff, I would love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. You know, at the end of this, I have a couple of printouts for a case study that talks about this, this bocce tournament. Yeah, you're like, bocce tournament? And look at that guy over there. Who's that? That's me with no hair in a suit in 105-degree weather at my first bocce tournament with John Madden. And at that time, I was finishing my undergraduate degree. No, I was finishing my master's degree in sports management. And I started off as an intern because I was working for the Oakland Raiders as an intern in football operations. I played football for San Jose State. So I was athletics all the way. I know my neck gives it away. But that was 20 pounds ago. And anyways, the key thing that I learned is that lasting impression, because 10 years, every year, people are like, I remember the first year you were there and you had that suit on and you were, and, you know, it's summer in Livermore, 105 degrees, right? How many of you guys ever played bocce before? Bocce. Some people are like, what is he saying? So when I first got introduced to the opportunity to actually work for Madden and Mariucci, I get a call at like 7 in the morning from the athletic director at San Jose State, Tom Bowen, and he's like, Dimitrous, do you want to work for John Madden and Steve Mariucci charity bocce tournament? I don't know what the hell bocce is, but yes. So this is bocce, and yes, I'm not Italian, but yeah, I was running a charity event for the Madden Foundation and Madden Charities for 10 years. Here's a bocce I'll pass around because some people don't even know what it feels like. And then when we're talking about experience and impact, all these things, everybody wants to be successful, right? And we talk about success and making money and striving and arriving. Uh-oh. Went to sleep. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we talk about success and all the ways that we can create a meaningful life, and the resume and all that stuff, those are fun things, and those are things that, I'm definitely proud of. But the biggest thing I'm really super excited about is definitely the work that I do in the community and the work that I do with students and high achievers. And we launched, my co-pilot over at Cal Poly, we launched a mentorship program for underrepresented students in California. And we were trying to find a way to bridge the gap, especially during the COVID times, of how can we connect students with mentors? Because we had so many kids who don't have a parent or a big sister or anybody to say, hey, help me with a college application. I remember when I was telling my mom about FAFSA, and she was like, what FAFSA? What language is that? I said, no, it's FAFSA, like FAFSA. And so, long story short, we launched a mentorship program with zero funding, and to this day, we've had about 300 plus mentees and over 150 mentors. And so just connecting that to the bigger picture around success, for me, it's about significance, right? If I'm called home and my number is called right now and I go home to heaven, my biggest cause is about leaving a significant mark on the world. And so I'm always looking for creatives and people who are doing awesome things. And so please connect with me. I would love to get coffee or chat more about what type of adventures you guys are doing. So the phone call. Yeah, I hand drew that. No, that's AI. AI. See, use your AI. AI helped me create that because that's exactly what I did when she said, and the funny story is Madden never called, at least what I was told, Steve Mariucci told me, he's like, hey, Madden doesn't call people on cell phones. Usually, he's like, he called you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, he didn't patch it. It wasn't patched through, or he'll tell his assistant would say, call this number. But I knew that Madden's agent and his team, I knew it was this weird New York number. And I saw it while I was driving on my way to Sacramento. I was living in San Jose at the time. And I'm like, is this Madden? And I'm in a whole different mindset. I'm going to a job interview to CIF here in California. It was a marketing gig. I was still fresh, doing sports management stuff. And I'm like, hello? Dimitrous, is John Madden. I just pulled over on the freeway, literally from lane 5, and I went all the way to the shoulder and took the call with my pen. I'm like, okay, coach. But what's really funny about the story is my whole life has just really been a miracle, coming up from humble beginnings and being first in my family to go to college, to, my mom was 11 of 12 kids. And so I've seen a lot, and I've seen enough to really show me that, my life has a special purpose. And, being able to work for this guy who's, worth 200 plus million. The video game, I'm playing the video game as a kid with my cousins and my friends. And then when I was in college at San Jose State, my fraternity, we did a Madden video game fundraiser, unrelated to like not knowing that I was gonna, we just did for my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma, we were like, hey, let's do a fundraiser, and it was the summertime, and let's get some TVs and, have a tournament. And 2-3 years later, I was working for John Madden. And so, I really like this image because it's like, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, ESPN, right? But, I really love doing this community work, and let's kind of just dive in a little bit more of what that looks like. But before we dive in, I want you to just turn it 60 seconds, 30 seconds each. What is one thing you're looking to create, right? I know this month is Creative Mornings, and we've got all of these projects, and whether you're wrestling with perfectionism or the project that's still going, or you need collaborators, or you don't have time, turn to the neighbor next to you, make a friend, and just tell them what's one thing you want to create and you want to launch, or you're working on right now. Ready, set, go. Who's a risk taker? That hand was first. Tell me, what did you guys, really quick share.
Yes, my friend Jose is going to work on a collection of
Short stories.
Place in Sacramento, which sounds so cool.
Awesome.
And then I am working on an online offering that is digital facilitation. A lot of people come to me for advice on facilitation, and so I want to make a program where folks can co-create together and get advice from each other on how to create spaces.
Excellent. Short stories and facilitation. Give me one more. No-profit visual effects studio that scales to profit. Excellent. One more in the back for good measure. I saw some hands. Podcast off the ground. Launch it. Let's go, baby. All right. Thanks for risk takers. Give him a hand. Let's look at this picture. Who's this guy I think he is? He's a rapper? My family says this is like, are you doing a music video? Are you dropping an album? Not yet. But hey, this was one of the images that kind of reflects a lot, because it goes from the first year, that maybe this is like year 5, but the first year I'm like in this space, all these multimillionaires, Chevron, Hearst Corporation, the grandfather, Wente Vineyards, all these like legacy families. And then I got to a space where I realized how much the creation that was inside of me was allowed to flourish through an event. And what was challenging, because my whole life, even like through sports, I was just like an all-around athlete. And when I was being recruited, they were like, play quarterback, like defense, catch touchdowns. There was, all these different things that I just didn't fit in the box. So they recruited me as an athlete. Then on my resume, we used to be like, this guy's working for the Chamber of Commerce and the Raiders and John Madden, Cal Poly. And I never could explain, even my family, when they heard I started working at the Raiders, doing like business and sales and fundraising, like my grandmother's sister called me, and she's like, yeah, I heard you got drafted by the Raiders. I'm like, no, auntie, I'm working on the front office. So my point is, yeah, it was classic, because it was a picture that went out, and it was like the Raider background, so I could give her a little grace. That she's like, okay, I could see that, but no one said, and I was like several years removed from playing football. But here's my point. Doing events and on the production side of the thing, it allowed me to express myself in so many different ways. And I think a lot of leaders struggle sometimes with trying to like fit into the identity box. And, I was one of, we had like, give or take throughout the day, about 600, 700 people, $5,000 to get in the door, okay? Company sponsored, all of the Bay Area pro teams, Niners, Raiders, Sharks, A's, etc. So look, this really gave me a way to like understand the deeper impact of how an ecosystem could connect to a cause. And so as we kind of land the plane here really quick, this legacy ecosystem, just pretend the core mission is you, the triangle there, and then we have like these different systems, right? And I won't go into each of them, but like the chronosystem, like time-based, history, cause, all the way down to the microsystem, the immediate surroundings, which would be the land. And I call it the land because John Madden owned the land. Yeah, he did. And he owned like a high percentage of Livermore, Pleasanton, like Tri-Valley area before, the tech, Silicon Valley boom and all that stuff, and they started building way more. Now, here's the thing. And I put landlord because one aspect of it, what you have this celebrity figure, this international icon, but then he's also the landlord to some of the people who want to develop or want to, have businesses in the area. And so I just put this to kind of like give you a broad strokes of like the ecosystem, right? So he has these type of people who are we call them check signers, right? They're signing the front of the check. And fun fact, John used to sign all of the checks. He'd like one day a week, one day a month, he would sit and he would look at the bills. And that was one of the really awesome things about working with Madden Charities was, in my 10 years there, we had over an 80% efficiency. So our giving, our what we spent to what we gave was over 80%. We had over 85% retention rate for all of our sponsors. Now, of course, they saw me, Mr. Rapper here, and they're like, yeah, let's renew every year. But obviously, yes, John Madden's name carries a lot of weight. Let's just press on. The mesosystem. So that's the aspect when you're looking at relationships and networks, that talent. And I put myself and our board, like that's our board there that we pretty much had for this tournament. So Steve Mariucci, the Albanese family, they're like big in construction, Madden, myself, and then Craig Vandermoss, he's over at LinkedIn. But our team just had a talent for bringing people together, looking at these different elements from sports organizations all the way to nonprofit. I don't know, this slide's a little funky here. Oops. I don't want to mess it up because I'll just leave it. So the exosystem, which is the tournament. What I love about the tournament aspect is competition. See, a lot of times you go to benefit dinners, right? And you sit at a table and, hi, nice to meet you. And then you got to sit and listen. They may have an auction, and then that's it. What was awesome about the tournament, it's a 48 team tournament where you're playing next to like Mark Davis, owner of the Raiders. He's like right there next to you. You're rolling the bocce and they're playing their game. And then on the other side of you got like Amy Trask, woman CEO of the Raiders who was there when I was there. And so there's a whole different ecosystem. Cal Poly, that's how I got connected with Cal Poly. John Madden went to Cal Poly, and I actually got connected with the president of Cal Poly there and started doing some consulting, and then it turned into a role. And so that's one of the things about the ecosystem that we kind of forget about is sometimes that competition, A's attract A's. Then the commerce. That's a big Magnum 12-liter wine bottle, and all of our celebrities would come in and sign it every year, and then we would auction it off. And I think at the highest, I think it went for like 40 or 50K. And then the other piece to connect to it is the wineries who we're supporting. So they're helping fill all that juice in that Magnum. And then we also engineering the graphics, right? It's engraved. So I like to put that picture because we got a lot of creatives in here, just to give you some different ideas to think about. And then I'm gonna land the plane here because I know we're probably right at time. The beneficiaries. We tried to say, okay, we're at space. We got no more room to add teams to a tournament, right? Kind of like NBA or NCAA with the Sweet 16, the term like you can't scale more because it's only a certain amount of space for teams. So we started a partnership with Clear Channel Outdoor. And then our sponsors were like, hey, I don't really need advertisement on a billboard, on a digital billboard, but if it's going to the charity, we'll up our sponsorship. So we had to think about ways outside of, traditional cutting a check, Jill, to be able to say, hey, how can we kind of upgrade our sponsorship? How can we show them the impact? And then one of the other things, actually, let me go back here too, to the front page here. So one of the things that, as we kind of close here, these kids are one of the beneficiaries. So we used to buy sports equipment, safety equipment for high school football teams. And then the other beneficiaries, we were supporting a artificial pancreas for JDRF and diabetes research. And then we had the Mariucci Family Foundation did a Down syndrome football camp. We've seen these kids who could never play football get to actually go and tackle in a safe environment. And then we had a couple of others that were just one-off things, but here's the key. At our event, we had our beneficiaries. This is the welcome. When you walked in, our beneficiaries there is thanking and applauding. So like, you know how they're now up, Molly, right? So then you come down the kind of gauntlet, but as they enter the event, we were thanking the sponsor. So imagine if you paid $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 to support a cause, and you were walking in the event, and the people you gave the money to are there thanking you. So my call to action, I already gave you one earlier. Connect with me. I've got a couple of case studies here that kind of highlight what one of my partners, advocacy chiefs. And then looking at a legacy future requires an intentional ecosystem: people, exposure, environment, and time. And I'm going to close with this: a legacy ecosystem, a collective impact of relationships and resources built on honor, humanity, and stewardship, perpetually multiplied across generations. That concludes my time.